Hello and welcome. I'm Jon Garlick, and I'm here with Captain Joey Stone of the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office, and this is Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Hey, Joey, how are you?
John, I'm good. How are you doing?
I've been doing well, but not as well as your guys, your team last week. Let's go right to the numbers. Tell us what they did there.
Most wanted last week, we've got 8 new arrests. Brings our total up to 4,887. So, pretty good numbers.
Excellent numbers. The community behind the Sheriff's Office and locating all of these folks that we need to bring down to spend the holiday at the Hotel California. And speaking of holidays, it's Thanksgiving.
That's
You've
right.
got you got some people working this holiday, don't you?
We do. You know, Thanksgiving holidays coming up. We want to, make sure everybody's safe. People be traveling out on the roads. You know, we want all the citizens to be safe in their travels. But we also have our employees. You know, though we work 24/7. We never take a day off. So we got people that'll be out there on the streets, in the jail, and we like to thank those people for working on the holidays. You know, we're very thankful for those guys and gals, and they're out there protecting the citizens of Calhoun County, and tell them thank you this holiday season.
We are grateful for the Sheriff's Office and all the first responders out there supporting the community during this Thanksgiving holiday. So remember, if you have a problem, call 911, call the Sheriff's Office, 256-236-6600, and have a safe holiday. But stay with us because we have a really neat guest coming up here after the break, and the first half of our Calhoun County's Most Wanted lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Scammers are now taking advantage of people's increased economic anxiety. One of the latest ploys is to phone unsuspecting victims and pose as representatives of utility companies. A scammer may identify themselves as your local power company. They may be able to identify your account number and even your name and address, but that does not mean they are legitimate. They may claim you are past due and your services are about to be shut off. Do not let the implied seriousness of this call frighten you into making a quick decision to pay. Instead, hang up the phone, then contact your local utility company directly using the phone number listed on your bill or on their website. Speak with a representative to check on your account. Never give your banking information over the phone unless you have placed the call yourself to a phone number that you know is correct. Utility companies do not demand your banking information by email or phone. They will not force you to pay over the phone as your only option. Any reputable company will never request payment by gift card, reloadable cash card, wiring money, or cryptocurrency. Some of the requested cards could be MoneyPack, Vanilla, Google, eBay, Amazon, or even an iTunes card. But you should know that there are still many more variety of cards the scammer could suggest that you use. If they ask for payment in any form of these cards, it is a scam. For more information, you can go to ftc.gov or call me, Nancy Hilton, at the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office at 256-236-6600.
Welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up on our lineup this week, Jennifer Waller. Miss Waller, last known to be living in East Aboga. She's wanted for probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And this is Troy Payton. Mr. Payton, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for a SORNA violation. That's a sex offender reporting and traffic notification, quarterly verification, and a probation violation on a SORNA violation. We need to know where this guy is, so if you know him, please call in. And meet Jacques Embry. Mr. Embry, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted on a probation violation for domestic violence strangulation. We'd like you to meet Joshua Langford. Mr. Langford, last known to be living in Jacksonville. He's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property first, attempt to commit a controlled substance crime. And this is Ricky Gilbert. Mr. Gilbert, last known to be living in Birmingham. He's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia and theft of property fourth. Take a look at Asmaida Valdez. Miss Valdez, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear in possession of a controlled substance. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show. Hello and welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in the lineup where you might know where they are, and if you do, call Call that Crime Stoppers number or call the Sheriff's Office, 236-6600. We're here with Captain Joey Stone and Mark Litvine of R.O.S.S Recovery Systems, is that right?
The Recovery Organization of Support Specialists.
That's
Yes, sir.
R.O.S.S.
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about R.O.S.S.
We are the first peer-run recovery organization in Alabama, and all of our certified peers are individuals in recovery from a substance use disorder. And we started R.O.S.S to reach the people who fall through the cracks, and all of our services are free of charge. So we are a free life-saving resource for substance use disorder in Alabama.
Well, that's pretty exciting. So it's free, so how are you guys funded?
State and federal grants as well as private donors. We started R.O.S.S because back in 2016, just like now, we were in a major substance use epidemic, and we needed a better way for people to get the help that they needed. And we started with our first recovery community center in Birmingham on July 24th, 2017. And today we are statewide. We have a 24/7 helpline at 844-307-1760 that gets 800 to 1,000 calls a month across the state of Alabama. And they are trained on suicide prevention as well. And that connects to our outreach specialist, Dina Bowling in Calhoun County, who stays with that individual or family member every step of the way before, during, and after treatment.
So what does that look like for the individual that's, maybe they're sitting at home and they're in crisis and they call that number? What can they expect over the next 24 to 36 hours from R.O.S.S?
So someone can call that number at any time of day or night at 844-307-1760. What a caller receives is contact information for recovery resources, including the treatment provider in one's area, as well as support groups, shelters, and anything else requested. Someone to talk to has been where they are, and let's say they're in Calhoun County. So Dina will follow up with them in less than 24 hours. It's for family members as well, and Dina will help with them getting an assessment for treatment. We deal with agencies that are certified by the Alabama Department of Mental Health. So let's say someone needs to eliminate those barriers to recovery. We'll stay with them every step of the way, and we'll do that. Whether it's advocating for them, whether it's transportation to a state certified agency, we do all of these things to eliminate the barriers to recovery. And we are with them every step of the way through that process, and it's all free. You don't need money, you don't need insurance. We believe in many pathways of recovery, meeting people where they are, and loving people to a better life, because we know what it's like to have been through that struggle.
So, and Joey, I noticed on the lineup this week that almost half of the warrants that are out there are drug-related, possession or distribution. So drugs are a serious problem here in Calhoun County, as they are all over the nation.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, people turn to drug usage, and it's the root of a lot of criminal problems, right? People have other problems, whether it's theft or domestic violence, assault, but a lot of those problems are tracked back to substance abuse problems, and that's kind of the root of that. So having organizations that are trying to help people to, kick that habit, those are important.
Break that cycle of abuse before they end up in jail. Now, Mark, you've got programs that work with the jails, don't you?
Yes, we have a jail to treatment program in some of the county jails where we help with individuals getting assessments for treatment. We have a pardons and paroles project where we help with individuals who have been incarcerated finding reentry into their communities. Obviously, as a result of COVID-19, we are in a major substance use epidemic. With the onset of the quarantine, people isolated, they self-medicated, they can no longer go back to their recovery support programs, and they turned to substance use as a coping mechanism. And the thing is, substance use disorder is a chronic health condition, just like diabetes or heart disease. It's caused by early childhood trauma, environmental factors, it's caused by genetics. And R.O.S.S does a lot to meet that person where they are. As peers, we use our lived experience, our stories, to give others hope that because things got better for us, they can get better for them as well. And the thing is, that's what we do. Our story is our greatest tool, And a lot of what R.O.S.S does is just to meet people with love and understanding. And we do that in many different ways, whether it's our recovery community centers in Birmingham, Montgomery, or Marshall County, whether it's working with expectant mothers in Jefferson County, or veterans all over the state. So our veterans don't fall through the cracks.
Well, great, thank you. We'll get a graphic up with that phone number on there, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about your story when we come back from the second half of our lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Lester Montenegro. Mr. Montenegro, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear in possession of a controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And this is Lester Landor. Mr. Landor, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on breaking and entering of a vehicle and fraudulent use of a credit card. And meet Tracy Morgan. Miss Morgan, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property first. And we'd like you to take a look at LaQuinta Patterson. Miss Patterson, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted on failure to appear in possession of a controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And this is Franklin McCormick. Mr. McCormick, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance. Take a look at Rocky Lavelle. Mr. Lavelle, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted on a bond revocation for possession of a controlled substance, failure to appear on a possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana first and use, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on these folks, please give Crime Stoppers a call. That number 1-833-251-7867. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup, or you might know where they are. And if you do, call the Sheriff's Office or call Crime Stoppers. They'll be happy to give them a hot meal this Thanksgiving at the Calhoun County Jail. We're here with Mark Litvine of R.O.S.S Recovery Systems, and good to have you here. We're talking about free recovery services for people that are addicted to substances, drugs, alcohol, and when they're in crisis, they can call your number. Why don't you give us that number, and then if you don't mind, share your story a little bit. I think it's remarkable.
So the Recovery Organization of Support Specialists, that number is 844-307-1760. I am a person in long-term recovery. What that means is since March 1st, 2013, I've lived a life of purpose, which is to help others and make a difference in my community. It's only by the grace of God I'm alive today. I'm in recovery from a mental health diagnosis as well as a substance use disorder. I do a lot of speaking out about my mental health. I actually get a shot once a month for my mental health, and I'm a huge mental health advocate. I did something acting out of my mental health diagnosis, self-medicating with substances at the time because that was all I knew to not feel the effects of my mental health. Not knowing what I was doing, I was incarcerated. I experienced being locked up without medication for several months. My parents would come see me. I'd have black eyes and split lips, and it's only by God's grace I get a mental health attorney who's a spokesperson for the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and he had me court-ordered into Taylor Hardin in Tuscaloosa and actually saved my life. They got me on the right medication, and I was court-ordered into the Birmingham Fellowship House. And the Fellowship House introduced me to my pathway of recovery. I ended up becoming a volunteer at the Fellowship House. The head of the Fellowship House wanted me to get to know Pam Butler with the Alabama Department of Mental Health and be in the first certified recovery support specialist training in March 2016. The courts dismissed my case on March 5th, 2014, and that's when I became a volunteer. But we started R.O.S.S. I became one of the founding members, and everything I do today is to go out and do some good in the world and help others so no one has to go through what I went through.
That's outstanding, and a great tribute to both the new organizations that are in place and the criminalization of mentally ill that we've seen, and certainly in my career and your career. We've seen a lot of dual diagnosis, so people with mental illness and substance abuse, and we've seen, unfortunately, the successful criminalization of those with mental illness because there's not enough beds to service people with mental illness. There's not enough crisis beds, and when law enforcement has to interact with them, the options of placement are limited to non-existent emergency care, non-existent critical crisis beds, and so that leaves law enforcement taking them to jail. You've experienced that, I know you have.
That's correct. We have to deal with people with the mental health issues on a regular basis, and a lot of it is because of the lack of resources available to those people, and people try to self-medicate, and it's just it's unfortunate. And organizations like this, to try to help those people seek the help they need to keep them out of jail. That's the right thing to do.
The special court dockets, the mental health courts, and the drug courts all help, provided their services. Now, Mark, you were very lucky to get into Taylor Hardin.
Yeah.
They rarely have beds. You probably had to wait for a while before you even got that bed. And your story also indicates something I've always advocated for. Mental illness, like almost every other disease, is treatable with medication and therapy. And the key factor is what we can congratulate you for is actually owning your disease and saying, this is what's going on with me, and if I take my meds, if I go to my therapy, if I maintain the same rigor that I would if I was a diabetic, had diabetes and had to change my diet, you can be tremendously successful, and you are, so congratulations. And thank you. So let's get that recovery number up there. Do we have the graphic for that? Let's get the graphic up. There's the number. Mark, tell us that number again and the website that they can go to.
Yes, so that number is 844-307-1760. We believe that addiction is a disease, not a moral failing. All services are confidential and free, and that number is for family members as well, because a lot of family members don't know where to turn. R.O.S.S has always been at the forefront of ensuring that no Alabama citizen with a substance use disorder falls through the cracks. I'm actually the project director on a new project where we are providing education to stakeholders in the community on substance use disorder, overdose prevention, and stigma. So you can register, you can have your organization register for that education at ace.ross, the number 4, the letter U, .org, and they are 3 30-minute fun and interactive trainings. We will come to you or provide them virtually, and let's love people to a better life. That's why we do what we do.
Outstanding. Well, Mark, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for helping get R.O.S.S started, and we really appreciate it. And so, folks, stay with us. We'll be back with the Crime Stoppers portion of our show and the Crazy Criminal. So stay with us on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show. First up on your list of crimes this week on November 16th, 2021. Between 8:30 a.m. and 3:20 p.m., a burglary occurred at this residence located on Highway 431 in Alexandria. They got away with 2 flat-screen TVs and an iPad. And sometime between November 12th and November 14th, a new home construction located on Highway 431 was burglarized. A pass load nailer, a Milwaukee impact driver radio, rigid impact driver, and window screening were all stolen from that location. And on November 19th, at approximately 5:15 in the morning, a Coleman Dutchman travel trailer was stolen from a location on Highway 431. A white Chevrolet pickup was last seen in the area. And on November 19th, the burglary was reported at a residence on Fish Hatchery Road in East Daboga. A 50-inch flat-screen television was stolen from that location. And on November 21st, a breaking and entering occurred on a tractor trailer. The tractor was parked at a location on Pleasant Valley Road in Jacksonville. Multiple chains and ratchets, a cobalt wrench set, food items, and personal items were stolen from that truck. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers caseload this week. If you have any information on these cases, please give Crime Stoppers a call. That number 1-833-251-7867.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Well, Joey, you know what time it is?
Time for Crazy Criminal.
It's Crazy Criminal time! Take us there, Skitch. Tell us about this week's Crazy Criminal. There we got a turkey. What is that all about?
So, I can't remember exactly where it happened, but a guy worked, I think it was at a Kroger. He's in some type of food manager or something, worked in in the meat department or something, and he's stealing turkeys and selling them. So, you know, stealing them from Kroger and then selling them, I guess, on the street or something. I guess that's how hard it is to get a frozen turkey these days. Is for
Stealing
Thanksgiving.
frozen turkeys
Yeah.
and selling them on the street.
I think they said he stole like over 100. Like, I don't know where he put that many frozen turkeys.
Oh
you
my
know?
goodness.
Yeah, so it was a bunch of turkeys. So
That's an extra long pickup truck for
absolutely
frozen turkeys.
It is, times are hard when
Times
you have when you're having to sell.
So
you know,
are frozen
turkeys.
turkeys. It's a good thing he didn't work for WKRP in Cincinnati. He'd be dropping those frozen turkeys from a helicopter. That'd be like bombing the parking lot. Well, yeah, a Thanksgiving-themed crazy criminal.
That's right.
So all of the first responders still working during this Thanksgiving holiday, so you know, public service doesn't take a break. Those guys and gals working hard all week long.
That's right.
Away from their families, so give them your support, folks, and pay attention to them. We've got a lot of interesting cases on our Crime Stoppers, mostly on 431 in Alexandria, it seems. A lot of houses broken into and work sites broken into.
Burglaries and thefts, and I think we had a camper trailer stolen and some different things running up and down.
So
we've caught some people too, so you know that helps. So.
it's good to catch people, but that Crime Stoppers portion of our show is very important. You guys do a great job on the lineup, and you do a really good job on the Crime Stoppers portion, but we need more information. So if you take another look at those cases when you're visiting the website, either the Sheriff's Office website or TV24's, and put some thought into those. I'm sure that you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that Captain Stone ought to know.
That's right.
Well, we appreciate you tuning in to our show. Community policing starts with the community working in partnership with law enforcement. No better community policing agency than the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office.
That's right.
No better public servant than those under Captain Stone's command. So we thank you for being here, Joey.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you again next week, but not in the lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.